We have had Roger Wallace, UT Color Analyst for UT Radio, on with us a handful of times already this year, right before Alabama, right after Alabama, and other games they've played. He joins us again as, of course, Texas OU coming up this weekend in Dallas. Raj, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. They are taking care of business. This team seems to be at Texas focused on the old corny stuff, like one game at a time, worry about right now. And maybe before they weren't that way. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'll throw another one at you, David. Business-like. You can throw that cliche because they're saying, another championship week and things like that. And it's kind of the way they played. They haven't dazzled anyone, maybe Alabama, because of the way it kind of unfolded, where they finally figured out the deep ball and just winning there, I think, surprised a lot of people. But, yeah, they're finding a lot of different ways to do it. And the backbone of this team is that defense. And, again, 24 against Alabama. Nobody else has scored over 14 points against them.
Roger, they keep on, like, in second halves especially. Maybe they don't have the first half they have, and then they just turn on the jets when they come out. What do you think is because I don't think it's halftime adjustments. Do you think it's just getting to know, like, what's coming at them a little bit better?
Yeah, it's really a strange phenomenon. The only one that didn't happen that way was one up there in Waco against Baylor, where they did it in the first half, but it still was one of those 3 touchdown barrages in less than like 12 game minutes. But yeah, they've done an amazing job in the second half of finding one of those little avalanches of 3 touchdowns, getting stops, and figuring out some rhythm on offense. And I don't know how you point to anything other than just kind of executing, and then you bust a big play like Jonathan Brooks did. That helps when you can hit some home runs along the way and not have to grind out 15-play drives.
Roger, I don't know that running back was ever like a extreme concern by any means. I know they had confidence in Jonathan Brooks and then some of the other guys in that backfield, and they've recruited well at that position. But how important has it been to see Brooks in particular just explode over these last 3 weeks, and Saturday being the highlight of those?
Yeah, and I think your point is well taken because of got spoiled with really 2 incredible years of Bijan Robinson. So you had to figure there's going to be a drop-off between that, and then you throw in what Roschon Johnson did last year. But Bijan's got 3 straight 100-yard games, and now a 200. Jonathan Brooks now a 200-yard game, and C.J. Baxter seemingly is going to be healthy for back-to-back games. He's been a nice compliment. I think that points to the offensive line too, guys. I mean, that's the group that had to improve in the last couple of years. Every team will tell you, you build from the inside out on the 2 lines, and that's the group that had to improve, and it has. So that makes life a lot easier for running backs. But then, Brooks has maybe been a little more dynamic than they expected.
Roger, there's been a lot of discussion because they were able to bring in an entire freshman class of offensive linemen when they had the NIL deal. But this current starting group, I believe 3 of them were before that. Is that correct? Or are there more than 3 of the starting 5?
Yeah, well, Christian Jones, I think he was there with Mac,
right?
6-year guy, and then Jake Majors as well. Right now, the way it's constructed, Hayden Connor was not part of that freshman group, but yeah, you have DJ Campbell and Kelvin Banks. So you're right, and Cole Hudson probably would be starting at guard, but he got nicked up. So it's been a combination of that group that you alluded to, and then some guy, Christian Jones coming back for a 6th year was huge, and then having that veteran in the middle at Jake Majors as well.
Sarkisian made a comment, I believe it was yesterday during his press conference, and someone who covers Texas for one of the websites put it up, that he said, and you could tell me exactly, that players are now coming to be at the 40 acres for a reason, for the right reason. What do you think he meant by that?
Yeah, that was one there. I guess you could interpret it a lot of different ways, but I think he thinks that they've developed a culture of just, one common goal and all the cliches that you would use when when things are rolling. And again, when things are rolling, everything's great, the culture's great, and then you hit a bump in the road, and suddenly you have to look at some things. But I think he just thinks his staff has pointed out guys that they think fit all that. And, they go back to that game 2 years ago against Kansas when they lost and kept them out of a bowl game. And he said before this year's Kansas game that maybe that told them some things in a painful way that they needed to do with this roster. But I don't know if it was one specific thing, David, about, the right reason other than, that common goal. And some guys might come for NIL opportunities. Some guys might come because they've dreamt of being a Longhorn all their life, and other guys might come strictly because of Sark. So maybe those are all the right reasons.
Roger, if they had a weakness, what would you say it is right now?
Well, they've been a little consistent in the kicking game. Bert Auburn's been a little inconsistent. And then, they've had some slow starts, and eventually that can catch up. They got gashed a little bit by Kansas, and they righted it. But if Kansas has Jalen Daniels and Texas is off to a slower start on offense, who knows what happens there. Quinn Ewers has been good, but still, other than Alabama, they haven't had a lot of success throwing the ball over the top. They try, but whether the defense is saying, okay, you're not going to get over the top, or it's missed opportunities. So, but right now, you can nitpick because they are 5-0 and they have won every game by double figures. But they'll have some fourth quarter ball games, maybe on Saturday at least, or with Oklahoma. So we'll see what rears itself in this one.
Roger, I saw a clip of Quinn Ewers that went, I guess, semi-viral the other day. He was just talking about his faith, and you see that from various players from time to time. But having been around and seen him these last couple of years, is it fair to say from the outside that he's matured a great deal? And has that been noticeable for those of you who have been following him along the way? It just seems like there's. And I know a lot was kind of made of that, too, of just, growing up and maturing and all of that. But has there been a noticeably kind of different attitude with Quinn Ewers this season?
Yeah, I think it's that. And then I think it's partially him just being comfortable. And last year, still, he was the equivalent age-wise of a true freshman playing quarterback at the University of Texas. So, and some guys are just either they're more gifted in front of the cameras, or they're willing to open up more. I think Quinn's very guarded with all the interviews and things. I think he plays it close to the vest. I think lately we've seen him, open up a little bit more, but that's the way he chooses to do it. But I think he's just more comfortable, more confident. And he admits that every time you ask him about last year, his response is the same. At this time last year, things were so different. Now I know more, I'm more comfortable, and therefore I'm more confident. And then, things are flowing a little bit better. But, he threw that pick at the end of the half, first one in 245 passes, and then came back and had a really good second half, obviously.
Do you think because listen, they've had weapons before, but they do have weapons at every position, and they're all capable of going 50. But it seems like that's now allowing him to show off a little bit more of what he can do running the football.
Yeah, Sark even talked about it with us on the radio, is that what he's done has forced teams to play a little more zone. Just because you play man, you turn your back to Ewers, and he could pop you for 29 in Waco, or 30 on Saturday here, or a 3rd and 9, and he picks up 10 yards. So I think that helps. I think that speaks to, maybe he's a little faster with the conditioning and the stuff he was able to accomplish in the offseason. But you're right. You've got to be able to get that first down on 3rd and 7 when everything breaks down, and he's done that quite a bit more this year.
Roger, if I hypothesize that this game might be a little bit lower scoring because I think the defenses might play a little bit better than the offenses early on, would I be wild in saying that?
Well, I'll say from the Texas side, I don't think so. Their track record's pretty good through 5 games of keeping it fairly low scoring, and they scored 40 Saturday for the first time this year. So they're not, a blitzkrieg offense. Haven't been that way. They've been a solid, efficient offense, but they haven't Now, they've had some fourth quarters where Malik Murphy's gotten his fair share of snaps, and they bring in a lot of guys, and so suddenly it turns into a kind of a different objective in the fourth quarter. But no, I don't think so at all. I think you look across college football, and we're seeing that a lot in ball games. I mean, look at that Notre Dame Duke game Saturday night. You can go up and down, and things are kind of coming back to that as well. So no, I don't think that's crazy to think that it could be a game where the winning team has under 30.
Roger, is there a player who is not a star caliber name or a five-star recruit? Is there somebody that's getting some of the dirty work done that's not getting much attention?
Well, they're really starting to like, and we might see him more depending on Ja'Tavion Sanders, Gunnar Helm, the other tight end for Texas. He's gotten a few more chances, and now if Sanders, we don't know what his status will be for the game Saturday, but he could be a guy that has to come up big because Sanders is so valuable in that offense. And Gunnar Helm's not going to stretch the field like Sanders, but he's certainly capable of being yet another weapon. And then I think about a guy like Jordan Whittington, and he's made for these tough games in his last go around. And this is a guy that's done a lot of damage, but hadn't been able to get in the end zone much. He scored one touchdown last year. He hasn't scored a touchdown this year. I know he's going to be ready to go for one more go-around in this rivalry.
Thanks, Raj. Appreciate your time.
Wait, David, I got to ask you a question. David, question.
Yep.
You remember our first Texas OU game together? Putting you on the spot.
It would have been 87? 86 or 87?
You nailed it. Johnny Walker, and then the next day we did the Scab game.
Yep. Absolutely. We did was that the Washington?
And the weather changed by about 30 degrees from Saturday to Sunday up in Dallas.
It did. Golly, I remember
Scab,
that.
like the NFL strike Scab game?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Was it Washington and Dallas?
Wasn't that the Eagles game? Wasn't that
that's
the Buddy
right.
Ryan game?
Yeah, that's the Buddy Ryan game. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Man, those were the
All
days,
right.
huh?
How about that?
Thank you.
Grinding it out.
Yep.
All right.
Have
Good to talk
fun.
to you guys.
Roger Wallace, KXAN Television in Austin, but also the color analyst for UT football with Craig Way on the broadcast with us on 365 Sports.
Yeah, always good to talk to Roger.